So we outnumber you guys, so you better watch out.
Okay.
And so I'll just go through this slide deck quickly, and then let Mike Giebler kind of walk you through the support list. If you've seen some of this before, I apologize, but refresher is never a bad thing. And you guys, I'm trying to remember. I think you guys have been around long enough. You've been around for a while to remember the days with the RID and Doug Hildebrand sending out these Excel spreadsheets to the regions to collect projects. So we're kind of like revisiting that exercise, but now in a much bigger way, and hopefully in a much easier way to manage, where we ask the regions in other parts of Weather Service to essentially help us understand what's going on on the project level, in the research and development project level. So let me walk through this. So what is the question? What is this projects repository in the VLab? And it's sort of like two things that it is. It sort of has a dual purpose. One is it's an interface which allows Weather Service and NOAA employees to investigate and compare research and development projects that are active in the agency to ostensibly improve the collaboration and situational awareness about what's going on. This one, of course, goes to the recent criticism that Weather Service has received, that we don't manage innovation well, we don't know what's going on, therefore there's waste and redundancy. People are working on the same things in two different places, unaware that someone else is working on something. And to this day, I can safely say that this is still a big problem. And even with this database, we set it up and everybody populates it. It's still going to require people to go to the database to sort of look to see what's there. But at least we're making an attempt now to try to create a central repository where hopefully people can easily and quickly input their data to try to meet this. The second purpose of the interface is to allow the owners of these projects to input their data so that we can carry out this performance measure pilot in FY15, where we collect data to determine, what types of metrics we might develop in this area of research to applications or research to operations. So let me just talk quickly what's meant anyway in the NOAA level, how this is we're defining this. So research to applications has three flavors: R to O, which is what we do almost exclusively in Weather Service. Then there's our research to commercialization, which falls under the sort of patents and licenses area. We do some of this in Weather Service. And then research to other uses, which are things that don't really fit well into either the previous two categories. And talking with Ken Johnson yesterday, actually thought that we might have some of this actually in Weather Service in the form of sort of like knowledge transfer, where say from some research effort, some technique or knowledge is passed along and implemented in operations without the creation of some new tool. But more, I guess, normally one way to think of this is sort of like reports like climate assessment reports, which are a product of NOAA, but and can influence policy and regulations at state, national, even international levels, or resource management. The NOS does some studies and research which are used to determine, about siting wind farms off of coastal areas, for example. So that's what that R2U category. It's kind of open-ended, and there's like different models to describe transition in these categories. The R2O, it's sort of a very explicit handoff from whoever developed the thing or to whoever's going to operate it, and you have a very strict transition plan with schedule and deliverables, and you want to execute that very well. The rules, the model for tech transfer or R2C is really governed by the laws that cover patents and so forth. And NOAA has a technology partnerships office, which helps people in NOAA handle that type of transfer. And then the last one really doesn't have a model, so I just sort of like a letter in the mail or a message in the bottle. You're not quite sure initially who uses something. So we want to measure the performance of these things across NOAA. So I like to call that we have an ecosystem, our R&D ecosystem. Some people say enterprise, but I don't think we have an enterprise at all. It's really this collection across 5 line offices of research labs and cooperative institutes and operational systems and so forth. And this has served NOAA very well to bring lots of new things to bear on operations and our mission over many, many years. So it is what it is, and it operates in kind of mysterious ways. But we'd like to be able to try to assess how well we're doing in this R2A area. And the way we're approaching this is to, through this framework that's anchored on the concept of technical readiness levels, sometimes called technology readiness levels. It's really like a maturity index based on 4 phases of a sort of life cycle, from research to development to demonstration and application. And sort of every project exists in theory, at one of these levels, and as it becomes more mature, it goes up up the chain, hopefully to application at some point or into operations. So there's sort of like 2 different flavors or ends of the spectrum on this of what could be going on in NOAA. This picture is supposed to be like an effective snapshot where you got like a wide base to your pyramid with lots of researchy things, prototypes, but only a smaller percentage of those sort of move into development because the cost goes up as you go up this pyramid. And then another healthy slug goes into demonstration. But when things are completely like proven and shown to demonstrated and validated, that there's a high percentage of those which then move into operations. So that would be kind of very effective picture. The other end of the spectrum is this, where you sort of have things float up very easily into right up into the demonstration mode, where they then languish forever in that quasi-operational sense, and then they only a tiny percentage actually get supported 24/7 in operations or something like that. So that would be kind of like your bottleneck mode. This is very expensive because it dilutes the new R&D that you want to do because you're sustaining these quasi-operational things. So that's kind of the negative picture. So the bottom line is we don't know what this looks like in NOAA, and we want to determine what it does, and so that we believe that actually things are maybe a lot of great stuff is going on. In fact, we know a lot of great stuff is going on. A lot of transitions happen every month, every year, and we're just not capturing all that good stuff because we don't have the data. So, and the only way to get the data is sort of grassroots, because we don't collect it any other way. So we have to go. The money's sort of doled out, and then these projects kick off, and so different like mini stovepipes know what's going on in their little domain, but we don't gather that in one central place to be able to see what is the big picture. So this is an attempt to do this. So why it's important that you guys in the OCONUS help out. So one would be so you guys get credit for what you're doing in the innovation world that are developed and eventually might transition to operations. Second is sort of so that Weather Service contributes to this NOAA effort so that we can arm Dr. Spinrad and Kathy Sullivan when they go downtown fighting for our budget to get more funding, that we give them the data to show the good that we're doing and in the areas where we could use some help with some more funding. And then finally, so that we can actually try to improve this R2O function in NOAA. So after, I don't know what the level of activity is, and in the OCONUS in this area. I'm almost sure in the past you did provide some projects in that exercise about 5 or 6 years ago. But we're looking for projects at all levels. So you know, whether it's a, you know, kind of a small thing that's just exploratory, that would be, that's something that could be included here. Obviously, the things that are more mature would be the ones you'd want to for sure include, and something that's like Ming Ji has definitively said it's in the AOP. We're gonna want those in here, and I'm actually going to be reaching out to those project owners to make sure that they're included. But what we don't know is what we don't know, and so you know, I have no idea if like somewhere in Guam, Bill, there's somebody doing something that's really cool, or that you want to include. So that would be more than welcome. And how you collect the data, it's really up to you. But we'd kind of like to get you know, at least an initial cut at this from the different Weather Service regions and organizations by sort of the beginning of July. But you know, it doesn't have to be the final cut. We're really looking to by the end of the fiscal year to sort of see what we have, and so the sooner the better. But obviously, if you want to take some time to chew on this, you certainly can. So, John, you want to? Sure.
Can we ask questions as we move through here?
Go ahead.
Okay, if you could go back to 8 and 9 for just a second, I'm kind of curious, especially with, you know, since it's just PR and AR, I'm really kind of curious about a couple of things there.
Go back. Which slide, Bill?
Because actually either one is fine. I mean, I'm just kind of curious. In both 8 and 9, I mean, even though 8 had a, you know, ineffective R2A, the other one was what you sort of called effective. Yeah, can we go to 8, back up one more? That's probably the better one to look at. Okay, you start out with 10,000. I mean, you lose a lot. You lose 90% of it. Can you give an explanation as to why you might think there's 90% of innovative ideas that are just thrown away?
This was just a hypothetical. The idea, I have no basis for it, Bill.
Okay. No, I thought this actually was some kind of research that was done here. No.
Just a hypothetical, and so the idea being roughly that I guess if you're, you know, it's a healthy organization, lots of things bubble up, but initially, but they don't, for one reason or another, they don't pan out, or they're deemed to be, you know, rolled up into something else. But this could be this could be a completely false picture, so we don't know.
No, that's fine. I'm not worried about that. But getting back to the slide 9, or slide 10, I forget where we were. The last slide you were on. Yeah, there. AR and PR. And I'm willing to bet what I'm about to say is probably true in Alaska region also. Carbon can chime in. A lot of times, and in the past, and unfortunately the past seems to be the present in many cases, even though it shouldn't be, we've been really kind of innovative on our own, and under the new PPA structure, that's not going to be kind of warranted any longer, and maybe that's why we're needing to give you this information. You know, we've kind of gotten our own satellite equipment out here and done that kind of stuff. We've worked with people off the cuff, you know, just almost, I hate to use this analogy, but, you know, almost money under the table just to get, you know, something put into place so that we could just be working on our own out here and not have to worry about bandwidth and piping and everything else. I mean, some of that stuff is getting corrected now, but I guess my question is, are those the kind of things that you want to make sure that we're listing here in our innovative ideas and development that we've been working on? Because, I mean, right now we're actually doing quite a few things when you really think about it.
No, absolutely. Look, we want to shine light on the good stuff and the stuff that you're having to do with, you know, baling wire, just to show what it takes to get your job done. Because, I mean, that's important. Both of those are, in my view, extremely important. Because, I mean, one, if it's showing that, you know, you're under-resourced, and the things that are being off OCONUS means you've got to do a lot more, you know, like you said, sort of improvisational stuff to just get your basic stuff done. But I think it would be fantastic to shed light on it by bringing those things in, to the fore through this database. Even if it's unique and only usable in the Oconus regions, it still needs, in my view, we need to include that, because that's you can almost say unfunded mission stuff or loosely funded, and as well as anything that that you're doing very cool that could be repurposed and used for the CONUS regions as well.
Yeah, understood. I just hope too that we don't raise ire to some of what we're doing too.
Well, if it does, I'll be in your court to push back. Let me just put it that way. I would, that would get my blood boiling a little bit, maybe more than a little bit.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Mike Giebler, you're on.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is give a demonstration of the projects repository portlet, show you how to navigate through it, show you some of the different functionality of it, and have my screen up here. Hopefully you can all see it. But this is what it looks like when you first come into it. It's in our virtual lab, and the top section here is kind of a toolbar area. And then down below on the main page is a grid listing all the projects that have already been entered into the repository. And it's a way for you to just navigate through these and visually look at what's been added out here. We also have some ways to sort this. So if you're looking for something, these top headers are sortable, the ones that are underlined. So you could sort these by project name, for example. The default is in ascending order, and then after that it's in descending order. And you can navigate through the different pages at the bottom. Also, another way, a couple other ways of finding projects is we have some search capabilities in here. In the toolbar at the upper right, we have a global search function here, and this will search through most of the fields that you see in the grid. It also searches through the tagging and categorization features that our portal has. So I'm just doing a quick example here, and you see we went from, we had 5 pages, now we're down to 2 pages of projects here. Another search feature is up here we have this will expand. It's an advanced search feature, and this is a way for you to kind of narrow down things based on the different fields that show up in the grid there. For example, you could start with something in the description and click the search button, and then kind of view those results a little bit. And if it looks like it's still too much to sort through, you can sort through, add additional search features on some of the other fields. We might want to narrow this down to one of the line offices here, or the organizations. If you do that, you can see that that narrowed it down to just 2. So it's just a way to kind of drill down in here and find some different information about the projects. And then once you get a results and want to kind of look at the details, over in the left-hand column, the project name is a link. You click on that and it'll take you to the details for that project. So you can look through that. Down here at the bottom you can see the tags and categories that I'd mentioned earlier. So those are the features that we've added to kind of help you browse through here and look at other projects that are out here, see what's, things that you might be interested in, maybe related to the things that you're doing. The other topic I wanted to go through as well, how do you go about adding a project in here? And you do that by up here on the toolbar. Again, there's an Add Project button. You click on that, and it'll take you to a form to fill this out. And I'll just walk through the steps with you here real quick. It doesn't take very long to do. You see, we have a 5-step process here, and each step is pretty simple. And you can navigate through the different steps either with the next and previous buttons that you see at the bottom, or you can click on the different numbers at the top. And step 3 is the most lengthy step. It has several things that we need you to fill out here. The line office and these different organizations. So what we've done is on these different organizations, we have a button on the right that'll give you a drop down. It'll list all the organizations that we've populated, which can be kind of lengthy to sort through. So we do also have a search feature here that you can
search for PR, Mike.
Okay.
So this would be Bill Ward.
All right.
What I thought.
So you can just do the PR for Pacific region, and it'll find that right away.
So briefly, Carvin and Bill, so you get the gist of this. The project owner, you know, is who's really submitting this and where they're located. The R&D source is like where it was developed. It could be NCAR, it could be WFO Guam, it could be NSSL, you know, it could be anything or any organization practically. The transition partner is the organization is actually transitioning it to some operational system, and the applying organization or the receiving is who's going to maintain it. So like Mike Giebler's got in there NCEP, NCO, you know, if it's like something going on a supercomputer or the IDP web farm. So that's kind of the basic flavors of these organizations.
Okay. Also, just to let you know, in the label here, there's a little question mark. If you hover over that, it gives a quick description of what we're expecting on these different organizations here. The next step is the R2O, R2C, RTU that Steve had a slide for earlier. And if R2O is selected, then we make the target system a required field. And that works the same way as the organizations with the drop-down or search capability. And also, if for some reason we haven't pre-populated something that might be the target system that you need, we've provided a way for you to add that right from the form here. We have an Add Target System button. The same thing for the organizations. If by chance there's an organization that's not in here that you need to select for one of these, we have an Add Organization button. And I'll just walk through a Add Target System real quick. The Add Organization looks very similar to this. So, so it takes you right to a data entry form with just 3 fields. A name and acronym are required, description's optional. And once you get those 3 fields, you click the Save button, and it takes you right back where you were in the form. And then you can see that that will be available right away for you to use if you needed to add one. And the organization works the same way, and those will be available to you right away as well. And the last item on this step is the TRL, Technical Readiness Level, and it's the 1 through 9, and we have just a brief description next to those of what those correspond to. And step 4, it's transition plan information. So if there's a transition plan for the project, click yes on that. If you have an anticipated transition date, you can put that in here. and I clicked the save button accidentally. So what that did is you can see that that actually saved it here. And as the project owner or the person who entered this information, you'll get a button on the right here where you can actually edit this. And all your information has been saved to the database. You can go back over here, back on step 4 with the transition plan. If you have a plan document, you can attach that here. You expand here, and you can browse through your file system and locate a document that you can attach to this plan. And step 5 is a categorization step, and there you can categorize by some predefined categories, and just select one of those. And these are optional fields here on the categorization section. We have 3 different areas for that. And we also have a free-form tags area where you can add tags that would describe your project. And then click Save, and those are the quick steps for adding a project. And once you hit the Save here, it's in a spot where you can add a second project if you want to, or you can hit this back button right here, and it'll take you back to the main page of the application. And when we save a project, the default is to put that newly created project at the very top of the grid here. So you should see your project at the very top. And just want to make a note on this pending status. So initially, when you enter a project, it'll show as pending. And the reason for that is we do have a quick kind of a sanity check workflow where we have a line office approver that will get a notification of this and just look to make sure everything looks okay on it, and then approve that project. And then at that point, it'll change from pending to active. And then at that point, other people can see the project. When it's in pending status, just the line office approvers and the person that created the project can see that. And that's it. You can see a couple of different statuses here, pending and the active is what I was talking about before. Also, one thing that you may want to do in the future, well, you probably will want to do in the future, is periodically update this. One of the things that you probably want to update is the technical readiness level. You can go ahead and change that. I'm changing it here. Click the Save button, and then visually in the grid, what you can do is you can actually see a history of the TRL levels for that project off of this button on the right. One of the options is a TRL history button. And here you can see that when I first created it, start date, and then when I changed that technical readiness level, it ended it. Happens to be the same day here, and then this is the current status from that same date to the present. So just to give you an idea of how we're kind of tracking that. Some other things that we're tracking can be viewed in this dynamic report section. And this just kind of gives a visualization of the metric, mostly the technical readiness level. We have a bar chart right here that shows the number of projects at each level. A data table at the bottom gives you the actual number here. And then we also kind of have a pie chart visualization here, and this is the percentage of the projects at each level. So you can see this red corresponds to technical readiness level 2, and you see 19% are at that level. And we have 2 other reports down at the bottom, and I might have to refresh here. And those are very similar reports. One is number of projects at each phase, and the phase is just a grouping of the TRL levels. So we have a research phase, which is TRL level 1 and 2, development phase, which is levels 3 through 5, and 6 through 8 is a demonstration phase, and then the final is the TRL 9, or operational transition. So same thing, number at each phase, and then the pie chart is the percentage at each phase. So that's kind of running through the functionality of it very quickly. So I don't know if anybody had any questions about it right now that we can answer.
Yeah, this is Bill. I guess as I'm watching this and we're running through here, I guess I hate to use this 4-letter acronym, but it certainly starts coming to mind. Is this something that's going to be replacing OSIP?
No, this is not a process, Bill. This is just a data collection. So there's no decision points being made at all. This is just a way to try to gather the project data and attach this this maturity index onto it, so we have an idea what a level of readiness or technical readiness that the projects are at across all of NOAA. So, but there's no let me put this, so I'm the weather service approver, so each line office has an approver. So currently I'm going to be the weather service one, but basically I'm not going to disprove any project, because the goal of this pilot is to try to collect as much data as we can at as many different TRL levels to see, hopefully that picture will be the most representative it can be. So I'm just going to, I may ask the people that, a couple qualifying questions, or might suggest they change something small here or there, but I'm basically going to approve everything. Yeah, no, there's no approval, there's no process here other than the process of adding the data to the database.
How does this become, or not become, yeah, that's the better word, how does this not become a monster then?
Well, it may be a lot of data, and if a lot of data and a lot of projects can be described as a monster, then it's a monster. But it is, hopefully, it adds up to all the great work that NOAA is doing in the R&D arena, and we can start to get credit and recognition for that, because right now we have no effective way to convey this type of information up the chain. Okay. It's all sort of in the hands of the project owners or sometimes program managers.
Right.
And nobody.
I like the idea this is going. It's just my fear is it's going to be overwhelming pretty fast.
Yeah, well, that's also why we're kind of doing this as a pilot, so that we get a sense for, as this starts to get more and more data and more projects, how easy is it to access the information, to sort through it, to find what you need. So we put a lot of thought into trying to make these search capabilities effective, but the only really way to know if they are is, get a ton of data in here and see how easy or not it is for people to find things, etc. So yes, that's we will want to see that, and we may have to do some redesign of certain things to be able to handle the potentially large number of projects that get entered.
And just a quick question, if something's, I mean, as we move into time here, and forgive me if I see the transition date. If things don't make it after a certain amount of time, I would hope that people need to come in and either explain why they're not moving forward or remove it so it doesn't become a graveyard too.
That's right. That's another, potential benefit for this, is to shine light on these, stuck projects and allow people to, do something about it, or because again, we're we're not, it's hard for anybody to act on things if they don't know about them. So there's a lot of speculation that goes on, and hopefully this is going to help reveal what the truth is.
And then I guess I got one other question, and it's one of the things that we as meteorologists have the biggest trouble with. You're asking that we put in things that we want to do. What about those things that we really should get rid of?
Ah, yes. That would be another database. That would be the kill database. No, I totally agree with you, Bill, that is a problem that is in dire need of attention. But I'm trying at the moment to work on this problem.
I understand that. I just, it just keeps piling on, and then one of the biggest problems that we seem to find when we're trying to go into innovation and get something actually do the R2O is where's that O&M tail? And sometimes the best way to get a little bit of O&M tail is to remove something that is no longer needed that is being funded.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, we can't lose sight of that. I hear you. Carvin, did you have any questions or comments?
No, I've just been gathering it in. I've got a couple of ideas. I've got probably 2 or 3 ideas. I think the first thing we're going to populate is our FPOP rollout, which is basically operationalization of our grids here in the region, and it's a multi-phase, multi-quarter. We're about halfway through phase 1 right now, and it's an ALP entry. And I think, and we're actually tracking it. One of the individuals that works for me has actually got a master's degree in project management, and I think this is really an opportunity to take something she's already got in pretty nice shape for internal accountability, but I'll be a first step to, I'll put this, it'll be a good opportunity to put it in VLab and just kind of test drive it.
Yeah, great. I mean, yeah, that's one of the, I think, big positive things for this is, I believe in weather service anyway. I think we do a hell of a lot for the budget we get, and we should be getting credit for these transitions, whether they're only in one region or not. I mean, we're pretty good at it. So I think at the end of the day, at the end of this pilot, weather service is going to look pretty damn good vis-a-vis the other lines. I mean, maybe Nesdis is up there as well, but I think we got a lot to benefit from trying to do a good faith effort to capture the good stuff that we're doing.
Yeah, not to want to make a lot of work for either Bill or any of the other SSD chiefs, but a lot of what we're doing with the satellite program, sure the R and the 2 portion is a lot of it on the Nesdis side, but there's at least part of the 2 and certainly the little O and the big O are on the weather service side. Yeah.
And there may be questions too as you start thinking about this more, like, who owns this project and what, maybe you're involved with it, but you're not, so feel free to get back with me if you have questions about how to fill out something for a different project. This is, again, part of the reason that we need to do this pilot is it's just impossible to think of all the different permutations of this. So, if you have ideas about how to do something better, or let me know, or let the rest of the guys know, and we can try to, improve as we go along.
No, sure, yeah. I mean, this is something. It pains me to know that we've got to do stuff like this because it takes a lot of work. I mean, to do this and do it right, but it is a necessary evil, and I say that really. I don't mean that in a bad way, but it's just if we're going to, especially as we work towards ensuring that we, I hate to say maintain our budget, but at least can fend off the viscous at the gate trying to take away money, and that, you know, we've got to be able to document some of the stuff that we're doing that really is pretty invisible.
Yep. So we've been telling folks, you know, if because we're going to benefit from more data, the more the merrier. So if you're like on the fence, should I put it in? Should I not put it in? Go ahead and put it in. There's no harm. Nobody's going to be penalized for, you know, putting something in that they whatever wasn't right or something like that. And the you know, the good news is that with this edit control at the end, once it's in there, you know, you can go in at any time and edit it. You have the project owner has full control over editing any of those fields. So don't worry about like, oh, getting it right the first time, because you can fix things, tweak things, tweak the description, etc. So don't be shy. Don't be hesitant. And I think we'll learn something.
And so, who should be the first belly button to push if we've got any questions? I guess for I'll say execution questions and how to get, if something we run into a roadblock or something we don't understand. Who would be the first person that let's say one of the program managers in my division here might go to?
Sure, you can get in touch with me, John Chattel.
Okay, got it.
john.chattel@NOAA.gov.
And you know, and Carvin, myself too. The questions, since I'm going to be the Weather Service approver, if anybody who's entering in, you know, as a project owner, so they can send an email directly to me. I'll see, you know, when they submit, I'll get an email in my inbox saying a new project's been submitted from Alaska region. I'll take a look at it, and then you know, I'll at a minimum, when I go to approve it, I send out like a approval email, and I'll say, you know, thanks Joe from Alaska region, great project, or something like that. But if I have questions, so I'm going to try to engage people at least at a minimum level so if they want to have follow-up questions, I can say, you know, great project, but if you have follow-up questions, please let me know. And we got, you know, we also have the VLab admin.noaa.gov. Mm-hmm. And that's for our support team that's available during business hours in Eastern Region, Monday through Friday. So that's another way. And anybody on the support staff can also answer questions on the project's repository. Oh, Mike, can you show the help? You're still on there, Mike?
Yeah. So on the toolbar we have a help feature, a little drop down. And from there we have a user's guide, and if you want to request another demo, we have a form where you can do that, and a report an issue option there. So, which is it's a forum post in here. So that's right there for you, and pretty easy to navigate through the user's guide here.
Okay, thanks, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. So John Chattel developed that, so that's in all the gory details as well. All right, so we don't want to take up any more of your time. Again, we really welcome when you get a chance to try to get something in, get your feet wet. And looking forward to see what the OCO has to show.
Sounds like you need a patent, Nat.
It's 5 o'clock there, I can tell. You need a drink.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to be looking for, we'll probably try to roll something maybe in next week just to do a little test drive.
Very good.
I think we got some stuff with our satellite things that we're really humping on here good that we need to probably get in there so that we can show a little bit of what we're doing.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
No, thanks, guy. I really appreciate it. We'll be in touch.
All right. Take care.